Hi, I'm Marla Schneider, President CEO of Cornerstone Alliance, and we are here today for the Housing 101 session with Ryan Kilpatrick from Flywheel. This is a precursor to our housing needs assessment that will be revealed within the first quarter of this year. And Ryan is here to get us all on the same page, rowing in the same direction, understanding the same terminology, and we're really excited to have him because he is an expert in Michigan in housing advancement.
Super excited to be here today to do the Housing 101 workshop with all of our Berrien County local community stakeholders. So our job today is really to kind of set the table and talk about how is the local housing market working or not working for different households, who can afford housing, who can't, what kinds of housing do we need, and how do we get it. And so we want to make sure that we've got a robust, vibrant community that is accessible and attainable to year-round residents, as well as the folks who are going to visit here in the summers and in the winters, so that we've got a really great place for everybody to live. Thanks everybody for coming. I appreciate it. God bless you. My name is Ryan Kilpatrick. I'm the owner of Flywheel Community Development Consultants. Prior to this, I ran a nonprofit organization called Housing Next, and our job was really to think about housing as a workforce development issue. So we were focused on housing as economic development. Thank you. To make sure that we had an adequate supply of available and attainable housing for our regional workforce. That organization is rooted in Kent and Ottawa County. And as we did more and more of that work, we had more and more interest up and down the Lakeshore and Lake Michigan, and then started to move a little bit east. And so now it's exciting that I get to come to communities like yours and do these kinds of workshops. We do studies, we do lots of stuff. So we'll show you a little bit of the work that we do, but mostly today, what we're intending to do, and we used a font that is almost impossible to read from where you're sitting on purpose. Now, what we're gonna do is a mix of table conversations, presentation, workshop. We'll have some things for you to do at your table in small groups. We'll have opportunities for you to ask questions, for you to say, tell me what I get wrong today. Every housing market is local, right? So there's a bunch of stuff that kind of translates from one place to another, but you guys are gonna be able to tell me what's happening on a block by block basis, on a neighborhood by neighborhood basis, on a township by township basis. There are different dynamics influencing your local markets that I know nothing about. And so your job today is to provide that feedback and influence your table conversation to say, yeah, like I like this idea, but we have to think about what's actually occurring on the ground in our community. And so you know what some of those challenges are, you know what some of the opportunities are that might be different in your community. So you're equally as valuable to this conversation today because you bring all of that local knowledge. So as we go throughout the day today, I want you all to feel like this is a very casual setting. How many of you know at least 5 people in the room? Raise your hand if you know at least 5 other people in the room. That's almost all of you, so good. I want you to feel like this is kind of family, right? So if you have a concern, I want you to raise it. Don't sit on your hands and say, well, he doesn't really get it, but I'm not gonna say anything. I want the whole community in this room to benefit from your knowledge. And if you have a question, or if you think, I don't think that data actually squares, let's talk about it, right? Let's not let it sit. Because the point of this work today is to help support you and local decision makers in actually making decisions. And that gets really hard when we're working with different sets of information, right? If 3 out of your 7 township board members have one set of data and 4 out of the 7 have a different set of data or a different set of terminology, it gets really hard not to talk past each other, right? Because one person says attainable housing and they're like, yeah, we need attainable housing. But you didn't define what that meant. And everybody else thought that we were talking about low income housing, and they either love that or hate it, but didn't say it out loud. And so now we've got this conflict that's going unnamed because we failed to define a term and to speak up for the things that were important to us. So today is practice. I want you all to get good in this room at saying the things that you think or that you know, at asking the questions that you're not sure of, and getting comfortable with some of this space where we're defining things together.